Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is the Real Estate Marketing Roundtable. Hey, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I got bit by a dog and it freaking fucking hurts. I had to go to the hospital after the show to get seen and probably probed and, everything else that I don't like when it comes to hospitals. But we have an incredible guest. We have Mr. Chris Manca. He is a newer agent. He's out of Florida. This guy, not a joke. Not a joke. He is crushing skulls. He is really doing a good job. We have the incredible Mr. Jake Wolf with us as my co-host, my ride or die brother from another mother. But until the next time when you get to learn from Chris, here's our countdown. Okay, so I have to say something really quickly before everybody jumps in. I have notes here. I'm ready to learn because, guys, what you're going to learn from Chris Manca, he is a veteran. So thank you, first off and foremost, for your service. He served with Jake Wolf. So you guys are officially both badasses in my mind. But not only are they badasses in the military, they're both badasses in what they do. So Jake crushes it in marketing. Chris is crushing it in real estate and growing his marketplace in a place he didn't grow up in. So he had no database. So first off, Mr. Jake Wolf, how are you, my friend? Good to see you again.
I'm doing a lot better than you are, Greg McDaniel.
No
you
shit.
get bit by a dog at the dog park.
So bad.
And you are fighting through the pain right now to go and bring content to the world. So I'm doing good. Yeah. Greg, Chris is doing phenomenal. I'm really excited to go ahead and hear about his journey, his relationship equity, the things that he's doing, starting into a new territory, all the rest of that stuff, the highlights, right? But first and foremost, happy birthday, Mr. Chris Manca.
It is his birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
This is the moment where you realize you just outlived Hank Williams and Jesus.
So you're turning 28?
I'll take that. Yeah.
You're doing good. You're doing good. So happy birthday, Chris.
That's awesome, man. We're so welcome and so privileged to have you here with us. Chris, tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you did, what you're doing now, and then we're going to go into your story. We're really going to dive deep on this. So I hope you're not too private because we want people to learn from someone like you who is just an amazing human.
Wow, we'll do the cliff notes, I guess. Originally I'm from an incredibly small town of 1,000 people on the Canadian border of Minnesota. So there was very humble beginnings. So very, very frugal, very hardworking parents raised me up right. Realized that even though I was doing fairly well in school, I liked to party and had a good group of friends and was like, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna join the military. Travel the world. This was my opportunity, and ended up meeting Jake in basic. And then from there, I got stationed in California, and long story short, there met my wife, had 2 beautiful children out there, and throughout the multiple different careers there, from military to mechanical engineering to working at a hospital as a software implementation project manager there, and here I am in Florida. I started it all over about 2.5 years ago, took a job out here, and then COVID hit, and then just like pretty much anybody else in the country had to kind of divert and make different plans. And real estate was something that I had family in and had always built houses and from a young age, and something that I'd done, kind of throughout the course of my life. And it was something that I could relate to people with and help people, and had a lot of bad kind of things happen to me in my transactions as a consumer. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll do it as a backup, get my license, and ended up getting laid off and doing it full time. So back was against the wall, had no other choice but to succeed. And here I am talking to you guys. So, Either you guys are crazy for having me on, or I may have done something right. I don't know. You be the judge.
I'm gonna go with crazy. I'm gonna go with crazy.
I'm gonna go with done something right. Panel says over on this corner.
You know what? The funny thing is that we all underestimate our potential. And so what you've been doing is growing a business, and you guys can't see them. What's that TV show when they have all the guys with the beards and they're like doing crazy like south, kind of activities like gator hunting and shit like that? What's that show? It's come on, Mega.
There could be a number of them. I mean, what are you talking? What are those guys that hunt gators down here? I mean,
no, I think he's talking about the Duck Boys.
Yeah,
Duck Commander.
Duck Commander.
Yeah, I got it. We could talk about that on another show too. There's a funny story about a business I started in that time frame of my life too. But
okay, well, let's dive into this. Everyone's listening. Chris has got this amazing beard, which I'm completely jealous about because I want to get a beard like that. Chris, walk me through why you got into real estate and how you've done and built what you're building right now, because a lot of folks need to, little inspiration and stuff like that. So let's start there.
Well, so I was in a weird position. So I was actually under contract for our dream home that we moved out here for. I had taken a job, and we relocated our whole family. My in-laws relocated with us, and life was looking good, right? And then COVID hit, and then you start peeling back the onion of the current job that you're in, and you're kind of like, ugh, that didn't look very promising. So I wanted to have a backup. And for me, I've always lived my life, something that my mom always instilled in me was to always serve other people. So I had, like I'd mentioned before, I had multiple bad experiences in real estate transaction on my own accord with houses that I've bought and sold in the past. So this was an easy entry for me to get into something that I knew, because I knew construction, I'd built homes, I wanted to serve others, and then educate people on how to not make the same mistakes that I had made, especially in the VA loan space. I got bamboozled on a real bad deal for multiple six-figure amount, like 3 days away from closing, from another service member who was supposedly a friend. And, that really affected my life long-term. Right. So now it was an easy way for me to now affect change and educate people that may not know those, those deep line item things that, were written in a VA loan, or they, just may take for granted from another agent that they may not even know, how those things may work. So I was like, I just looked at it and saw, okay, well, I'll get my real estate license and have it as a backup. And just based off of me being somebody, from an early age, my mom will laugh, I was always the talker in school, and always built relationships and just had conversations with people. I just built a network of friends and business owners and like-minded people right away. That was my goal right when I moved here, was even before I got into real estate, because we didn't know anybody when we moved to Florida, so it was a whole new landscape. And that was the biggest thing for me, was to build relationships.
So I want to parlay on that. And Jake, I want you to jump in on this with me really quickly. When it comes to moving to a new neighborhood where you don't know anybody, you've done it several times, Jake. Chris has done it several times as well. What are a couple of things that you would advise people on, Jake, when they move into a new neighborhood?
Lock the doors and close the blinds. Don't talk to anybody.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Relationships are so important, right? I mean, think about this. Let's say you just have a job, right? And a W-2 type job. You're working there. You get up every morning, go to the job. You hang out with maybe 2 to 10 people that are your coworkers. Then you end up coming home and doing that over and over again, right? And on the weekends, you're just like, I'm exhausted. Close the blinds, shut the doors, and hang out with the family, relax. Sunday, hit the church, go back and do it again, right? That's the kind of normal flow. So when people go ahead and come off of a W-2 type job or whatever the case may be, move to a new territory, regardless, getting into the real estate industry, you're going to have to start opening up, having conversations, establishing relationships with other vendors that are in the marketplace. You're going to have to get your core business set up and then start offering some different programs of value, right? And getting out there, socializing, things like that. What I really like about Chris's story is there's been a lot of people that have relocated to the state of Florida because of political indifferences. They're moving because of maybe COVID restrictions in different states. Maybe they're not in agreement with what's going on at the local school level, school board level with some of the different policies. There's a lot of people that are moving because of these highly charged issues. So everybody's got stories when they go ahead and come to Florida. So a good quality real estate professional starts having relationships, gets to know people in their local area. And Chris really did it well. So there was a lot of folks inside of his community. Now he's the HOA president. He's meeting with all the rest of the people inside of his community, starting to get to know all of the different folks. He's having to get in and out of all of these new construction offices and say hello. He's networking with different vendors. And that's the key, right? It's knowing Chris is reliable, timely, good communicator, represents his constituents properly, and everybody else knows him. On top of that, strong, unique selling propositions where he can offer value props. And now the referrals are just coming in a short order. So Chris is actually starting to write a book, ladies and gentlemen, about relationship equity because of the things that he learned in a short period of time. But he did not, for the first 6 months of his real estate career, he did not proceed to go out and really engage real estate. He wanted to go ahead and prepare himself. So he was sitting down talking with legal attorneys, title offices, reviewing contracts, going through all of the stuff so that he can be in a more powerful position to represent properly. And I know some people don't have that kind of time frame, but that's just who he was. Fully prepared for battle, then going out, engaging. And once he engaged, it's all about action.
Well, I think the biggest thing here is what you say is action. And Chris, you've taken action. So as a newer agent in a newer market, by the way, I just cannot get over your beard. I just love the beard. It's just amazing.
Well, I'm glad you do. My wife would probably say different, but
well, Duck Dynasty is very jealous at this moment. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
When it comes to a new marketplace, what was your thought pattern when you stepped into a new marketplace? I mean, were you frightened? Were you intimidated? Were you just kind of taking go balls to the walls and this stuff? What was your mindset, and how did you push through that? Because a lot of folks are petrified when it comes to getting to a new marketplace because like, oh my gosh, I don't have a database, I don't have any CRM, I don't have this, blah blah blah, whole bunch of horse shit. But you did it. So what was your mindset?
Well, everybody, all your coaches, mentors, brokers, team leaders, they always talk about sphere of influence. Lean on your sphere of influence, right? But what does that really mean? Initially, everybody thinks, well, it's my 5 or 10 closest friends or my aunts, uncles. But for me, I didn't have aunts or uncles here. I didn't have any friends. So I had to lean on the people that I was meeting on a day-to-day basis, right? So I looked at, okay, well, I have a stupid amount of hobbies. I'm into cars, I'm into golfing, I like bourbon, I like cigars, I like, going out and meeting people in all kinds of different areas. And like I said before, just starting conversations with people. And if you can, one of my tactics when I do, and if I'm in a social setting, I can easily pick out and identify a like-minded person by a t-shirt or a hat or something funny that they're doing or their kid. Luckily, my youngest, he'll start up a conversation with anybody. So he's just like I am. And, right there, you can generate a conversation with somebody about anything and you can relate to them. And that's the biggest thing is just being able to get on a relatable level with people. And then from there, once they realize that you can smell a bullshitter from a mile away, right? And if you're a person that is grounded in your character and integrity and you're a good person, and from there you can build on other things, and I've always stood on that as a core principle of who I am. I always serve other people. And from there, then You're not that salesy clawing at the, people's ankles, sell your house with me, or, buy a house with me. They're going to actually gravitate to you because they see that you're not full of shit. You're a real person, no different than they are. This is what you get from me, period. I'm not the suit that shows up in a 3 Series BMW. Those guys are successful. Nothing against them. That's just not me. I am who I am. But when it comes to, a real estate transaction for any one of my clients, you'll be hell bet that I am going to win for them in every single way. But I'm also to a point of, I know who I am as a person, that I'm not going to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. So if you ask me a question that I may not know, I'm going to tell you. I don't have that much pride, but I'm going to follow back up with you with the right answer, and then get you in touch with the person that I leverage to get you that answer, so that you can get a more in-depth, I guess, explanation on that. And then what that does is it builds trust.
Right.
So, that was one thing that I did, and Jake said this first 6 months, I was very adamant on not going out and trying to sell a house. I've been in transactions. Could I have done it? Sure. The YouTube University, I'm sure I could have probably figured it out. But I didn't want to, because at the end of the day, it wasn't my money that was at stake. These are large transactions for people. And if I would have, had a tarnish on my name at a very early on stage in my career, that shit follows you, right?
So, well, it does and it doesn't. The one thing that I think, Chris, you're hitting on very heavily here is that you just took action. You went to battle as soon as humanly possible. A lot of folks, they pussyfoot around this because they're afraid of the rejection. That horrible, horrible, horrible little word called no stops people, and they're in their tracks. When it comes to you, you're just like, well, fuck this shit. I'm just going to go to war, and I'm going to get my money and take care of my family and build my house and enjoy life. What was that one deciding thing for you in regards to when it comes to seeing past that word called no?
I guess I looked at I don't know. I've had people try to dissect. I've even tried to dissect the way I think. I think way outside the box on everything. For me, the word no isn't a defining moment in a relationship. So I'm going to follow back up with them, but I'm also going to let them know that the only basis that we're having a conversation isn't just because we're going to do a real estate transaction. I actually am interested in something about their life, to where it's not only about real estate, and when you say the word no, I've told more people not to sell their homes, or based on their specific, every transaction is different, right?
Yes.
And every personal, in their own personal world is different. So you can't, a carte blanche no or yes isn't just going to rubber stamp everything. So I've told people the first time I met them and they find out that I'm a real estate agent, they're like, oh, I own, 6 rental houses, and they tell me where, and I'm like, don't sell them right now. Well, now a year and a half later, they've tripled in value, and they're like, wow, I can't believe you told me to not sell them then. And I'm like, well, I knew then that they'd be worth way more, rather than me trying to, climb at them to get a transaction under my belt, because the long-term benefits of me building that relationship is more important to me. And I never thought short-term,
right?
In single transaction. For me, I always think long-term. Like, I've done multi-million-dollar transactions for less than a percent of commission, working both sides, because I saw. Now that doesn't, obviously matter or make sense for every single time, right? But depending on those clients, it sure just damn well made sense, because, depending on those clients, there could be large investors, custom home builders, CEO, executive levels in large companies, to where now I'm providing value to them. They see, and I'm proving my worth to them. So now it's not just that one shot transaction. I'm going to have a 10 or 20 or 30 year, hopefully, relationship with them. And that $30,000 or $70,000 transaction check is going to be $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 long term.
So
I've got something I'd like to add here, right? So
please do.
Here on the Marketing Roundtable, we always talk about different marketing tactics and advertising, different procedures and things. So Chris, in his very first year, ladies and gentlemen, took 6 months to prepare, get himself all organized. Then he started taking massive action and building relationships for the long-term approach, right? So it's every single person you meet, saying hello, he's showing value, he's talking about different things, just having general conversations, just letting people know who he is, right? Keeping and establishing those relationships at a core level, saying hi, right? In the first year, after taking first 6 months off, then engaging, he almost caps at EXP. Coming into year 2, within the first 5 months, he's already capped, and he's working with over 30 families now, just off of the network of continually being a good person, being a good ambassador in your local community, getting out, things like that. So there is a core of this relationship business that goes so far in such a long way. And once you have those, now you can start leveraging technology, right? Good websites, utilizing your emails, sending out value, doing all the rest of that other kind of stuff we talk about all the time, but even in a core way. So most real estate agents spend their lifetime getting to a point where they've got a referral book of business worth any value. Chris, within a short 12 months, has a referral book of business that's going to last a lifetime. So he's part of the 1% club of this works. You should be doing that as well. And just being a good person, going out, massive amounts of value, being engaged in your business. So a lot of people are struggling, trying to figure out what's the next step. Try to have as many conversations as you can with as many people when the opportunity affords itself throughout the day, and dig in, find out a little bit more. We hear all the time, Greg picks up opportunities. He loves to go ahead and take his beautiful German Shepherd dog up to the dog park. Everybody else that's in that kind of a community, they're doing the same thing. Greg's having good conversations with people. And since the last 6-7 months, there's been over 5 to 10 opportunities in real estate that came out from you just having relationship conversations with people there.
Yeah, even more. It really is incredible until you get, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have 3 holes in my hand. My arm is turning red. I got bit by a dog yesterday, but you know what? It's part of life. And what I'm learning about this is that the opportunities come when you put yourself out there. So if you're going to feed a dog and another dog and they don't respond well, yeah, you learn a life lesson. But what Chris has done, what I really appreciate about him, is the fact that you gave 0 fucks given, and you went out there and you just made it work. Now, what you guys don't know about Chris is he has a very large yard, backs up to a lake. He throws big parties for everybody in the area. He also has a rat rod. If you don't know what a rat rod is, go Google that shit, because it's fucking cool as shit. And he makes friends with every person and he interacts with. And that's what you need to do. You have to be open-minded in regards to building relationships. So, Chris, when you got down into Florida, what was the first thing you learned about making relationships in the real estate realm? Because we already all know that you're an incredible human being. We just need to talk about how to build relationships for building business.
So building relationships in the real estate world, for me, getting here, I had to so I went from California, no matter how you want to slice that type of an environment, to Florida, no matter how you want to slice that type of environment, right? So for me, what was important was and this is how I am as a person, I don't care what your thoughts, ideas, or whatever, or whoever you want to align with. At the end of the day, if you're a good person, you're a good person, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, not every client is going to fit with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if we're both Republicans, or if we're both Democrats, or if we both believe in green trees, either way, our personalities may not always jive. So for me, at the beginning, I learned that the hard way. And that was one of the lessons, is when you say and talk about no's, I had to learn from my own time piece that it's okay to not take on every client, because if you have a client that's just literally draining your life as far as time, and that it's okay that those people, because at the end of the day, it was all about having fun for me, right?
Right.
And when you talk about relationships in real estate, I wanted to surround myself with people that I enjoy, hands down.
Well, so let's back that up for a second, okay? When it comes to people that you enjoy, did you make a mental decision to tell yourself you enjoy people, or did you just say, you know what, I like you, I don't like you, I want to work with you, not going to work with you, don't give a flying fuck? You know, I mean, where did that shift take place? Because a lot of folks, they can't do that because what they're told is work with every single person that comes through. And I can tell you, after 23 years in the business, no, you learned that way sooner than I did. So where was that shift made?
I probably my third or fourth transaction, after, so it's pretty early on, right? I mean, and it was one of those transactions where it was a super, super needy client that didn't, no matter how much you tried and tried and tried, it was one of those, nothing was ever good enough.
So you were representing Jake Wolf?
Yeah, right. Right. But at the end of the day, and I still got them the house, on the first offer. We won it, shit hot, made it happen. But at the end of the day, that whole learning experience of how much it exhausted me, I was like, I made a mental note that, okay, from this point forward, I need to identify a couple key points to where it's okay to pass on a referral, right?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And I think Kirk said it the other day on that, on Real Estate America News, where if you've got a really crappy client and you got a really horrible, loan officer that may have done, let's throw them over there in the world. But either way, you might, give them 15% versus 30%. You know what I mean? It's okay, because at the end of the day, and I tell a lot of my clients, I would much rather do 5 transactions a year with people that I can have at my house, have a barbecue and drink bourbon and know as people, than do 50 and not have fun with. And I mean that, like, straight up.
So what you said right there was very simplistic, but very profound in the exact same time. So you'd rather do a certain amount of deals with the people you really want to kick it with versus being a puppet and just playing to the show of the real estate game, going like, oh, look, I'm number one real estate agent. Look, my mom calls me the number one son because I am the firstborn. So guess what? I am number one. So your mom can call you number one, but are you having fun doing it? And it sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing it. Jake, when it comes to marketing to help folks find their right tribe, what would that look like in a short amount of time?
I'll tell you what, Greg, in a relationship game, like equals like. Okay.
True that.
It's going to happen. So these people will present themselves to you. You go out, just be the most genuine, awesome you could possibly be. They're going to be attracted to you or not. Some people are, outward facing, and some people are more introverted. Regardless, it's just going to develop nicely. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, I have a question for Mr. Chris, and this will go to prove my point. So, Chris, out of the relationships that you've built with some core people that are now considered your lifelong friends in your community and surrounding communities, how many of those people have been having conversations with their core friends? And then how did that equate back in real estate back to you because of it?
Well, as a core group of people that I consider family, if on the outside of what people would assume that I would be like, you would not think that those people would be in my core group of family, right? Because with how people think today, as far as this group of people shouldn't align with this and that, but I'm not like that. So I align with everybody as long as they're good people. So my mix of people is so diverse, you wouldn't even be able to believe it. And then what happens is because they're all good people, they have went outside 3 layers of circles. And then now that referral business is coming back and has transmitted into transactions and listings. And within just my, what, I don't like the word farm, because to me it boxes you into your hyper local, like my community. And for me, that's so much bigger in my thinking. But in my farm, I do the events, I do the hot rod send, I do the 4th of July stuff. But now people have had those conversations, and they see that just because I drive a lifted pickup truck and I wear a flat billed hat, and I don't care what my image may look like, but I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
And I'm not in it for that one-time transaction. There's trust there, like I said, and now it's spooling to where it's so much bigger that when I tell them I want 5 a year, it's turning into 100.
So what I'm getting to, right, is a lot of the people that you now are close with, that you've created these relationships with, they're starting to go ahead and have conversations with their friends and family organically. And those people are in a position where they need some help. You're getting phone calls all the time, are you not? From different folks that are close to you saying, hey, I've got a friend moving from here, moving from there.
Oh, all the time. And you'd be surprised too, because, those that are close to me are like, and I've done a lot. I've probably done it the wrong way, but I have extended myself to help, not just with real estate, but because I took that 6 months to align with really strong people in the industry from all different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
In Florida market, everybody has built an incredible amount of equity, right? So there's been positions where my neighbors, for instance, a neighbor of mine has a special needs son, needed to go into a special needs school. Well, he came to me because he knew he could trust me. He wanted to sell his house. Well, I told him, this was a year ago, don't sell your house. Let's look at your equity position. Let's just have you have a conversation with one of the lenders that I trust to see where we can do to be able to leverage this, to where we could take a little bit of money out and maybe even purchase a rental home to cover the cost of what we're taking out. And now we're going to have an investment property too. And a year and a half later, he's built more equity in the house that he was just going to sell. He's built equity in the rental property, and we were able to get him into a position where we were able to help his son. And overall, it just helped him at his core, or I've helped people, linking them up with multiple people that hasn't even had a downward effect as a monetary gain to me. That's not what it's about to me, and people can see that right away. I mean, I tell people, a $50,000 transaction is the same as a $50 million transaction. It's done on the same freaking contract in Florida. There's 2 contracts in Florida. It don't matter. The dollar values are written in the same block. For me, I'm still going to treat the $50 million one the same as a $50,000 one. And the same people in my team are going to be helping the 50 million versus the 50,000.
Well, the $50 million clients are going to be the larger pain in the ass. The $50,000 are going to be much more grateful in regards to what you're doing.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's the same. For me, it's the same core service. Right. And sure, I'm going to have to spend a little bit more on marketing, but I'm still going to show up. I've pulled into the nicest neighborhoods in Windermere in my hot rod on a listing appointment, in this same hat, actually, with some clients that are, you wouldn't even believe that they have in their pocketbook, because they know that I'm not bullshitting them, where I'm not trying to put on a persona of somebody that I'm not. Now,
that's true.
It would be no different. I've pulled up to a trailer park for an investment property for some folks that were outside in that same freaking car. I refuse to change no matter what it is. And
the funny thing about that, Chris, is that we're all humans. Our blood is all red. That's how it goes, right? We take a shit at least 1 to 2 times a day. We have to get some food. We have fears. We have anxieties. We have hopes. We have dreams. And when you treat people like that, it is incredibly interesting. Like you were talking about pulling up into a very high-end neighborhood. Dude, I did the same thing. I pulled up to a property. Guy was worth $5 million and just in his property on that one property. Dude, I was wearing jeans, a baseball hat, and a polo shirt with Vans on. And we talked about gas stations, race cars, and horses. Listed the house the same damn day because, like you said, relatable. And I think that's the one thing that you have a magic cure to, is that you're relatable to the people you interact with, and that's your tribe. You've attracted your tribe, and all of us, yes, all of us have or will or are going to try to find our tribe. But once you stop trying, you stop giving a flying fuck about anything. I got a listing off of fucking painted toenails because a chick liked my toenails. Thank you, COVID, because I had Jackie, my girlfriend, decided to use me as a test dummy to use her new nail polish. But I got a listing off of it because the girl's like, "Oh my God, I love your nails." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's amazing. Thank you." But it's relatable to the individual at that point in their life. And once you're just own who you are, like you're owning your beard, you're owning the rat rod, you're owning a lifted truck, you're owning Florida, you're owning being ex-military. That's your crew, bro. Once guys and gals, you're hearing my voice right now. Go out there. Stop being afraid of who you are and start being authentic. Once you start being authentic, your life is going to change. Just like when I met Jake Wolf.
Yeah. One little tip on that.
The toenails or
no. Although if I were to think back, yes.
Jake is shaking his head right now, just like what the fuck.
There has been a moment, I think, where I've had painted toenails, and that's because of my older daughter at one point.
See, you're a victim too.
Right. And it's okay, and I'll own it. It's not a big deal. But when you want to try to be relatable, and at the end of the day, we always talk about being honest and not putting on a persona of somebody that you're not. One thing I've found that because even though I was an engineer in natural gas, and a lot of that was also sales. One thing I learned when I would go out to these power plants and I was working with these construction guys, and sure, I would relate to them, but I would also talk to these suits, and I would have a lot of cold calls with these executives. And one thing I started doing, and I kind of coined it, was my 5-minute creep, right? Before I would have these conversations with people, I would, you can find anything out on the internet. I pull up their LinkedIn, their Facebook, their Instagram, look at and find a little piece. Where did they go to college? What sports teams may they like, or where were they from? Good point. Luckily, because I was in the military, I've traveled around, I've got some college, I like sports. I've got hobbies. And then you just relate to them. And that's how you start out the conversation. And right off the bat, especially on a cold call, because everybody pounds this in real estate, make your cold calls, make your cold calls, make your cold calls. Well, I'm horrible at it and I don't like it. And I have yet to do it because I've had success being blessed with referral business. But if you're a cold call person, do that little piece. And if it takes you 10 seconds where you can have a conversation with somebody on a cold call, and you automatically know that they went to, they have an Embry-Riddle degree. They like the San Francisco Giants and they're from, California. Well, start the conversation out there, because then because everybody hates telemarketers. They get hung up all the time. But your first 5 minutes of that conversation, if you can relate to them on a personal level, and then you slowly bring in of why you're on that call with them, they're a lot more apt to be able to want to listen to you and hear what you have to offer them than if you just say, "Hey, I hear your house is worth, you got $200,000 in equity. Would you want to list it with me?" And they're like, "Nope, you're the 15th person that's called me today."
Let's do this, Chris. Why don't you do a role play with Jake real quick? You're the agent. Jake's the seller.
I don't do cold calls either.
All right, motherfuckers. Fine, I'll do it. So, Chris, are you the buyer or are you the agent? Are you the seller or are you the agent?
I'll try one of these scripts. I see you guys always practicing and things like that. But you do understand you're calling Sarge here on the phone, right?
I feel bad for you. All right.
Oh, all right. All right, we'll do it.
Yeah, okay. You're on the main stage. Here we go. Ring ring.
Yeah, hi. Is this Mr. Jake Wolf?
This is. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, this is Mr. Chris Manka. Hey, I'm also an Air Force veteran. I understand that you're also a veteran.
Where are you right now? Let's get a beer.
Yep. All right. I'm just down the road here in Winter Garden. I'm actually a real estate agent and a fellow veteran, but yeah, I don't know what kind of beer you like, but I like PBR. How's that sound?
It's doable if we have to hydrate, but I like.
Oh, come on now. You can't hate on the PBR. I know you drank plenty of that. If you're a war veteran, I know you drank plenty of warm Natty Light. Cold PBR is better than warm Natty Light.
Gosh, Greg's laughing his ass off over it. Yeah, no, but so like literally, if I get phone calls from veterans, it's good. Where did you serve? How long did you serve? What can I do for you? What are you thinking about? It's a whole different tribe.
Because really, at the core of it, right? It's something that you have a passion for. So I'm going to find out right away that Greg likes dogs.
So I have dogs. So you stop your script, right?
No, I'm on to you with dogs. No, yeah.
Okay, so let's continue the script real quick, and we'll go, and then we'll come back and we'll recap on this thing.
Yeah.
So,
all right, nice to meet you, Chris. I'm a fellow veteran as well, as you know. And what can I do for you today?
Well, I understand. I just looked up some of your information in the neighborhood that you're living at, and I understand that you possibly just moved in here, and with the home prices, blowing up in this area, you've got a pretty awesome equitable position. At the end of the day, I know you're getting beat up by all of these real estate agents in the area. Yeah. I was hoping to just actually learn more about you and your tours and catch a beer and learn more about you.
Awesome. Yeah. We were thinking about possibly doing something with the equity inside of our home, but if I sell now, where in the hell am I going to go? I like this house. The kids are still in school. My daughter still has 1 year left of senior year of high school, kind of a scenario, and don't want to unsettle her. So I'm going to stick around for a little bit, but I appreciate it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I do get hit up all the time, postcards and letters and door knocker agents, and people are calling me and stuff like that. But I would love to go ahead and meet up with you. That sounds good.
Kids are always a concern. I've got an older daughter. We always want to make sure that we put our kids in the best school systems possible. And I've got kids in the local school areas, so I've got an incredible amount of knowledge, with the school systems in the area. So I have the same like-minded, thoughts as far as the schools. So I think both you and I are aligned in the same areas. And I would love to buy you a beer sometime. So if we can follow up in a couple of days, we can find a good Irish pub and we'll get a cold pour.
Just close them right now. Tell them when you're gonna meet them for a beer. Just Tuesday or Thursday?
2:00 today.
Now you're talking about a true Irishman right there.
Right. No, but and that's probably a fault of mine too, is because when you talk about closing on a cold call or something like that, and Greg, this about me personally. I am the least pushy person you'll probably ever meet when it comes to anything sales.
True that.
And I've had success with it, but I've also had, about some deals that I've gotten bent over on with it because I probably, wasn't pushy enough on it.
So I think the word pushy isn't the correct, vernacular. I think assertive or aggressive,
right.
When you're
aggressive, probably in the ones we're referring to. Sure.
Right.
That's fair. But, I think that at the end of the day, with what each client and each transaction is so different. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to, on the fly, make those moves and being able to divert. And for me, they always have those personality tests, right? Or whatever. You're an A, B, J, whatever.
The disc personalities.
Whatever. I'm the type of person where I lean on those around me, right? I'm only as good as my team and the tribe around me, right? And by that, I mean, the title office that I've aligned with, my real estate lawyer, who's a friend of mine, my loan officer. I've won deals simply because of my lender. I've won deals simply because of my relationship with my home inspector. Those certain things I lean on, period. And that's how I've, and I let them know. And at the end of the day, I continue and I tell them and I try to bless them moving forward with relationships and helping them with more transactions too, because a lot of people in this industry are very greedy and they're very selfish.
They are. That's true.
Very. And if
I look at Jake every day and I'm like, God, that greedy motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's always trying to take from me every single day. I don't know what to do with him.
Have you ever heard of compounding interest?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of this thing called compounding interest? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So listen, everybody that's watching now or catching this on the replay, I know that you should know that relationships are extremely valuable in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. So try to go ahead and create a conversation with a new person each day. Set yourself up like that. If I'm out and about or whatever, go out of your way to have a conversation with somebody, say hello to somebody, put yourself kind of in that position. Those compounding relationships over time, if out of I'm setting myself up to go ahead and have a new conversation today with a new person. All right. And then that stacks times that first 30 days, and then 60 and everything else. Watch those compounding relationships go ahead and grow. And if you keep focused on it, put it into your activities and your daily business push-ups of things to do and just be a good, genuine person, you're going to be a rock star like Chris. It's already went in and capped his 100%. In the first 5 months. And people are calling, and those people are referring people to Chris, and it's just going to continue on. And Chris is just going to go ahead and advise these people on the best thing that they should possibly do for his opinion. So if somebody's sitting there saying, Chris, I need to sell my home because I've got my special needs child and I need to go ahead and get some of this equity out. And Chris immediately says, hang on a second. If we change the way that we look at things, the things we look at change, maybe this would be a better opportunity. You like living here. You like the school district. If we do something with your shift some things around. And now all of a sudden he's blessed and unstoppable because of it. The guy's got a rental piece of property that's gaining equity. His home's gained a tremendous amount of equity. He's got self-liquidating income coming in already that offset. Awesome.
The funny thing is, Jake, I'm going to piggyback on that, and then we're going to close the show up because no jokes, ladies and gentlemen, I have to go to the hospital. I haven't been in the hospital in 15 years. I'm not kidding around.
Hey, everybody, if you hear this, Greg is literally waiting to get done with this show for you to then go to the hospital because he went ahead and got his ass bit at the dog park.
Not my ass, my hand, but yes.
Hit the damn like button now. If that doesn't show dedication.
Do it right now. But Jake, so what I'm gonna show to you guys right now, these are a stack of my business cards, right? And I have over 25 of them that I carry with me every single day where I go. Every human I come in contact with, I give them a card. Now, 99% of them gonna throw it away. But that 1% or 2% or 5%, they're going to hold on to it and then find value and ask information and then pass on your information onto them. My father started door knocking in the 70s before I was born in Boulder, Colorado. And I've told the story a million times. But he went out there. He had a $50 suit on. He wasn't fancy. There was no social media. But kind of like what Chris did, not saying that you're not fancy, not saying that you have a $50 suit. But what I'm saying is that both of you guys took business by the balls and you went out. So my father would go out and he would go turn left on Monday morning, wouldn't come back until he passed all 25 cards out. Next day on Tuesday, turn right, not come back to 25 cards or we're gone. So I put this into a theory. I'm like, okay, I'm going to test this theory. So I walked out one day and I'm like, I think my dad's full of horse shit. I walked out 25 business cards. I went over to, we have a grocery store called Trader Joe's here in California. Chris knows Trader Joe's. And you know what? I was scared as all hell, but I talked to the checker and I'm like, I'm a real estate agent. I work across the parking lot and, here's my card. Do you know anybody who's thinking about buying or selling or renting or investing? He looks at me and goes like, I'm 20 years old. I can't afford it, but my parents are thinking about selling their house. I said, here's a second card. Write their number down. I'll give them a call. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a listing. It's being proactive. It's being Chris Manka. It's being Jake Wolf. It's being the people that you look at and you're like, how in the hell are these people so successful in such a short amount of time? And it's because they're proactive.
One of the states that when I lived in Reno, when I moved to Reno, right, I actually went to spec out the town and went down there and I hung out for a week. I called the mayor's office in Reno and said I was
in town.
I'd like to go ahead but I would stop into different businesses. I would be at the casinos. I'd be having conversations with different folks. I would have conversations with the guy behind the checkout at the gas station. How do you like living here? Thinking about moving in, things like that. So that was one. I met so many people, was collecting contact information. Folks were saying, hey, I'd help you and maybe you should think about moving to this part of the town. Another time I was living in Alaska, I was running some business. My wife had a dog kennel facility that we went ahead and purchased. And I literally went to every single business in that town, said hello, introduced myself as a fellow business owner. How are you doing? Just wanted to meet you, kind of a thing. Don't know if you guys have any dogs. Here's a free one night stay at our dog kennel. Come on over.
So it's a one night. So it's a one night stand at the dog park.
Amen. Amen. Come on over here. Have a free night. We'll babysit your dog for you while you go out and have some cocktails with your wife. So
perfect.
Bring the dog over. So, but
one
those
thing
relationships,
grew.
Everybody was referring to us. Other businesses were referring to us. People were coming over, and all three of my competitors went out of business.
Chris, after you.
Well, one thing that I've done, and I'm going to add a disclaimer. Use this with caution, and it's probably not going to work for everybody. But I do things way outside the box. I've done it with every one of my clients, and I've even done it with people on the street. And I said this one thing. I hate all real estate agents. And people's faces, they look at me, the ones, especially with my new clients, they kind of look at me like with glazed over eyes, like, wait a minute, whoa. They're all confused. Like, oh, you're a real estate agent. Why are you saying that? Now I'm kind of questioning. And because then I follow, it's an instant conversation starter to show them the value that you have. And then ask them about the history that they've had and experiences that they've had with other real estate agent. How many times have you used the same real estate agent more than once? Most of the time, they've never had that. And then you ask them why. Okay, this is exactly why. Well, I don't like other real estate agents because now I have to work 50 times harder to prove to you and show you how a real estate agent should act, should educate, should provide value throughout the whole transaction. And then just with that simple term, it immediately you can relate to them and then it's an easy segue to show your value, especially on a listing, or if you meet somebody new that you find out is going to be doing a real estate transaction. And I've had incredible success with that crazy ass statement. And it's worked every single time for me because it's an easy way for me to show how I can provide value to them, throughout the whole way.
There's a guy, I'm going to close this up to close the show up, and I want to come back to you guys, get final thoughts. There's a guy named Simon Sinek, a guy out of New York, phenomenal author, speaker, everything else, entrepreneur. He and his buddy were walking down the streets of New York one day. And this goes back to what you're talking about, Chris. And he saw a lady who had a sign like, hey, I need food. No jokes. I need a beer, whatever you always see. Right. And he said, can I change your sign? And she's like, well, okay. He's like, how much do you make a day? She's like, I make $100 a day. And he's like, okay, so you can live on $100 a day. Yes, I can. Okay, fantastic. So he flipped the sign around and he wrote, I know you don't buy and sell every day. I'm sorry. I know you don't give every day, but next time you do, please remember me. And I'm like, holy sheep shit. That is so powerful. So he gave the sign back to the lady, right? She made $100 in 1 hour. Simon sat there and watched this happen. She picked up, went away. I'm like, okay, first off, you're really fucking missing shit because you can make $200 to $300 to $500 easily in one day and never have to come back and do panhandling. So I shifted into real estate, and I use this all the time when I do cold calls. I say, I know you don't buy and sell every day, but next time you do, please remember me. And the tonality and deliverance of that is powerful. And what Chris has done is powerful in regards to building a relationship. What Jake has done with Clever Leads and Freedom Move USA and everything else that we talk about on the show here, there's an intentionality. We're trying to give back to our communities and bring value. And so that's what, guys and gals, you need to keep in your mind. So Jake, I'm going to go to you first. I want final takeaways, and then I'm going to go to Chris.
Unique selling proposition, since we're talking about it, right? Like, I know you don't buy and sell real estate every single day, but when you do, think of me. What I love over at the Freedom Move USA side of the house is same kind of a scenario. Next time you're thinking about possibly buying or selling a home, just come check with me first before talking to another agent. Let's see if I can get you saved $10,000 to $25,000 on your moving expenses. So just getting that information out there. I know Chris has went ahead and used the moving program a couple times, and a lot of people know about that value proposition, which goes a long way inside the relationship columns too. It's you got to go check with Chris.
You know, and the thing about Jake, which I love about you, my friend, is that you are unapologetic about who you are and where you come from. A lot of people are turned off by people who come from your mindset because we've been taught to be sheeps, not lions. And when once you become a sheep and you go out there and you bring your value and you don't say, I'm sorry for who I am, this is what I believe in, this is my value add to your life. Do you want to work together? Do you want to be in a relationship together? Do you want to be friends? All of a sudden, that's a solid stance for a lot of folks to really start as a bedrock. And I would encourage every single one of you guys and gals that are listening to this, find your bedrock, find what you really want to stand on. Like Chris has done phenomenally in Florida, like Jake has done with Freedom Move USA and Clever Leads, but with a K. Find it, never fucking move from it again. I live in San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen, as you well know. I'm a white guy. Even some of you guys actually think I'm a black guy. I've been told that multiple times because of my voice. And they're like, oh my God, you're a white guy who's Republican, who owns guns and wants, the Second Amendment to, freedom of speech. And I'm like, yeah, 100% I do. And I wear shirts that say this all the time. You wouldn't believe the interactions that I get. Now, if anybody else, when it comes to their beliefs, I respect the crap out of you. And you and I can have conversations. That's the
greatest thing about the freedoms that we have in this country.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what's made Chris so powerful, because he's owned who he is. So Chris, I want you to take away and give us some of your final thoughts, and we're going to wrap this thing up.
Well, on that note, I'm a white guy that drives a lifted pickup truck, and been told that I've got one of the dopest rap playlists around. So, I mean, you just never change who you are, right? I mean, so hey,
that's awesome.
Just be you, man. That's it. Really, at the end of the day, be you. And at the end of the day, my dad always told me, figure out what you love to do, find a way to get paid for it. Well, I've been horrible at that until now, because at the end of the day, I love serving and helping people, and now this is it. So just never change who you are. If you're the person that likes wearing the suits to listing, that's your dude. Never change it, right? And be unapologetic with it, right?
Yeah.
But be a good person. Like me, this is who I am. I'm not going to change it, but I'm always going to be a good person. So just in this whole business, because it's going to help Greg, it's going to help every single agent. The more scumbags that ruin people's experience in this business, it's going to make it harder for everybody. So the more we can all help people and educate people, it's going to make more money for everybody and make everybody's experiences better. So I'm just going to leave it on that. just be a good person, man, and just help people. Because at the end of the day, that's what the world needs. Just help people out.
Well, Chris, it doesn't hurt that you're a very handsome man, very well spoken and very well educated. So you are doing the industry a good deed here. Jake Wolf, another good looking human being who's always dressed to the nines.
Hey, don't throw me in this category.
What you don't want to be good looking? Get the fuck out of here.
Don't throw me into this category. Thank you, Greg. Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You know what your job is, right?
I do. I got to put a color on a bow and you're confusing me. Oh, well, you know what? Let's go with some silver today.
Silver. All right. I love it. Okay, Chris, color on the bow for the show.
PBR blue, baby.
PBR blue. All right. Thank you for making me write that really, really quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys like this show, please go out there, give us a like, a follow. I want you to crush that like button. You know what? I'm not even going to give an analogy on this because there is a funny comedian that I listen to all the time. And he has the funniest damn ways to have someone crush that like button, but just go crush it. Hit a hashtag with Chris Manca, Jake Wolf, Greg McDaniel, REU Nation. By the way, go to reunation.com. We have a lot of different shows over there. We're becoming the YouTube of real estate information. Follow us there, like us there, comment there, but reach out to Chris. Chris, how can people get a hold of you?
ChrisManca.com, Facebook, Chris Manca, IG. You can call me 707-685-6254. Let's have a bourbon and hang out.
Nice. Guys, for all the dyslexic out there, that is Manka, Manca, Chris Manca. Go follow him there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're putting a silver bow. We're putting a BBR blue bow on this show. Guys, I love you to pieces. Everyone is out there listening to us right now. Go and like and follow us everywhere. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.